2020 has been a unique year in so many respects. Deep transformations long at work in our society have either accelerated or fully stopped due to COVID-19. Climate change is one of those topics, both because it's at the core of this crisis, but also because it became a focal point in the decision-making of governmental support packages.
In this series, we're going to explore how climate change impacts businesses and how its solution, sustainability, can bring about positive change in companies. Because there's no more time to waste to save the planet, and because companies can still have the good role in this story.
Today we focus on carbon offsetting, one of the well-known tactics used for many years by different companies to act on their sustainability agenda. We're going to look at the people on the ground who are actually implementing these projects, two organizations, 7 Clean Seas and Fair Climate Fund, and also the consumer side, the companies that actually purchase these credits. For this, we're going to be talking to Dr. Smile. My name is Livomila and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Plan A.
And I'm Nathan, CMO and co-founder of Plan A. We're here at the UREF, the heart of Berlin's business sustainability. We are Plan A and we exist to create a decarbonized and carbon neutral economy.
Carbon offsetting has become a major trend in how companies respond to their sustainability agenda. Major companies like Apple, Delta, Microsoft almost simultaneously announced billion-dollar compensation schemes to neutralize their negative impact on the planet.
And this is a huge deal just because of the sheer amount of money that will flow into these climate action projects. Offsetting is the ability for a company to compensate their emissions through financing climate action projects that remove exactly the same amount of carbon from the atmosphere. The carbon offset market is the mechanism that facilitates the conversion from carbon emissions into money value that will then go to finance these key climate action projects.
But it's not that easy. The carbon offsetting market has existed for more than 30 years and companies are far from being carbon neutral. Without a consistent and well-defined carbon reduction plan, carbon offsetting can make companies and allow companies to have a license to pollute further without reducing their negative impact on the planet.
So hello, my name is Gert Krielaert. I work for Fair Climate Fund in the Netherlands, and we develop climate protection and climate mitigation projects. And to understand this a little bit, it's good to tell a bit more about the background of offsetting, because the offsetting mechanism was actually introduced in the light of the Kyoto Protocol. Back then, industrial countries, they were allowed to realize part of their Kyoto commitments in developing countries. And the idea behind this was that emissions could more effectively be realized in those countries because there was still a lot of low-hanging fruit in these developing countries. And besides that, it could have positive effects such as employment opportunities, cost saving, knowledge and technology transfer, etc. So later, this practice of offsetting was adopted by companies that on a voluntary basis or from a CSR perspective wanted to mitigate their climate impact and have a positive impact in developing countries.
There's a lot of good reasons for the planet and companies to value offsetting as a carbon reduction strategy.
The market has surged over the last few years, matching the excitement of the crowds for climate action. Just between 2018 and 2019, carbon offsets doubled. What is actually the reason for different companies of different sizes and industries to want to use this method as one of the carbon reduction ones for them?
Well, reason number one, offsetting allows any company to immediately compensate the totality of its impact while they take the very important measure to reduce the carbon footprint that they actually have to compensate.
Reason number two, sustainability is a journey and it's actually a long one. So starting to do carbon offsetting is a good first step in your journey to become more sustainable as a company.
Reason number three, any company can now have reached beyond their immediate environment using the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. With certified projects, any company can support one or more of the 17 SDGs that act as the guiding north for any development efforts.
7 Clean Seas is an organization that implements projects related to plastic pollution.
My name is Tom Peacock Nazil, and I am the founder of 7 Clean Seas. So if you don't know about 7 Clean Seas, we're an ocean cleanup organization based in Singapore. We've got projects throughout the region, and we're targeting to have boots on the ground physically, removing plastic and helping local communities in the 7 worst plastic polluting countries in Asia. The huge benefit to this is that you're really funding huge environmental and social projects throughout Southeast Asia. We're helping local economies, local communities, but also there's this huge environmental benefit to the marine life and the biodiversity in these regions that we're actively and proactively cleaning. So the benefits are quite clear to see.
So if we talk about benefits, you can think of, for example, stimulating biodiversity through supporting forest protection or reforestation projects. These projects also stimulate economic activity and employment for people working on these projects.
So offsetting brings formidable benefits to a company while supporting projects that are impactful and quantified in terms of their impact. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, due to the very high value of this certificate for businesses, some companies use it as a quick fix for their pollution problem. There are 4 essential conditions for an offsetting to be done in a meaningful way by businesses.
Condition number 1, having a larger strategy. Offsetting by itself is not enough. It's a good first step, but for what our planet needs, it needs to be part of an agenda that is focused on reduction.
Condition number 2, additionality. Is the project that you're financing happening regardless? Your money should be coming on top of the rest of other actions that are being implemented by other actors in the field.
Condition number 3, monitoring. It's incredibly important that the project you support is also verified in its impact throughout its lifetime, which means that you need to understand the impact as the project has been developed.
Condition number 4, permanence. Any carbon that gets removed through offsetting needs to be removed permanently from the atmosphere. Additionally, there should be no negative impact for local or global community coming out of these projects.
The biggest risk with offsetting is that projects don't deliver what they promise. For example, if it is claimed that emissions are reduced, but in reality, they are not reduced or exaggerated. Secondly, what is very important is the concept of additionality. And that means that the project is mostly financed through carbon finance and is not happening because of other types of funding.
Now, unlike carbon, which can be really cheap to actually offset, plastic's quite a difficult thing to remove from the environment. It costs a lot of money. You've got to engage a lot of people. You employ large workforces. It's geographically dispersed. And this means that the price per kilo is a lot higher than it would be in carbon, for example. And although that's a bad thing, because it may slow down the adoption of this kind of strategy, it's actually the most beneficial thing about it because it's expensive. It's a self-elective tax. A company is going to always try and reduce the plastic first because offsetting their plastic is going to cost them more money. So we see it as not just a tool to reach kind of net zero, but also as a method to compel companies to reduce the amount of plastic that they're consuming.
Dr. Smile, a company that develops personalized teeth straightening products, decided to tackle their sustainability agenda working with Planet. By using our software that enables companies to calculate, monitor and reduce their emissions, they decided to find ways to reduce what they can and offset where it's not possible.
Our product, the aligners which straighten your teeth, are a product out of medical plastic. So we thought that this would contribute the most towards our negative CO2 emission, which is actually not true. It's our behavior in the office, it's the traveling of the people around, which is causing the biggest part of, the biggest chunk of emissions. So making us aware, similar to my personal example, also made changes within the company and also within the travel policy. So we also try within Germany we try to travel by train rather than taking the plane. Or we also try to avoid meetings if they are not necessarily done in person. I could see that translate into like a competitive advantage or a business advantage. Is that really measurable? I don't know. I think it's probably in the end the sum of the actions. I think it's sometimes hard to find an entry point. And for us, offsetting or just starting with it was basically the right starting point to actually do something and start off with it and have the consciousness of continuously doing something in that direction. At the beginning, and that was I thought that this would be far more complicated than the process actually turned out to be. What were the challenges? The calculation of the CO2 footprint is not something you do within 2 minutes or so. But once we had done it, it was done and it was okay. And we revise it from time to time to see if something changed. That was probably one of the challenges. Just do it. Huh? Once you get started, you probably get infected with doing more.
I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you've been inspired. If you're a company, please do look at your own internal waste streams and reduce the plastic. If you're not able to reduce it, then reach out to partners like 7 Clean Seas for your offsetting needs. If you're a person watching this and you're feeling inspired, don't feel overwhelmed. You can make a difference. Get out there. If it's on your own, if it's with your family, go pick up some trash.
If all people and all companies in the world would invest 1% of their income or of their net profits into climate protection projects, then we could tackle the problem of climate change. So that might be a new line of thinking towards the future.
Carbon offsetting is therefore an integral part of any company's sustainable strategy. If done right, if done within the rules, carbon offsetting can become an incredible levy of actions for organizations across the world and for the planet as a whole.
If you like this content, subscribe, comment and like StartupTV's and Plan A's channels. If you want to learn a bit more about how to incorporate sustainability into your own company, get in touch with us. Thank you and see you soon.